What's up, guys? Welcome to the podcast, guys, with Rob and Nando. We have an important reaction video to get into. Let's dive into it.
Women don't friend zone men that they like. They friend zone men that they're using. Let me repeat that again. Women do not friend zone men that they like. They friend zone men that they are using. And they are using these men for attention. That's the number one thing. How do you actually know that you're being friend zoned? I'm going to tell you the top 4 ways that you know that you're in the friend zone. The first sign in knowing whether or not you've been friend zoned is if she treats you like a pen pal. And what I mean by this is that she texts you constantly for advice and makes the conversation about herself and lets you give her advice, but she never actively wants to hang out. You're definitely friend zoned if she tells you something along the lines of making a pact that if you're not married by a certain age, then you'll marry each other. Yeah, you're friend zoned like a mofo. The third one is if she tells you all these great compliments about you and always hypes you up, but she's always trying to hook you up with somebody else, it's because you're friend zoned. So what that looks like is, oh, you're such a great guy, and then she lists all the things that are so great about you, but you're such a great guy for her friend Lindsay. Number 4 seems pretty obvious, but if she gets mad at you for dating other people, but then if you break up with that person for her, she still won't date you. And all I'm going to say is that y'all know that I don't believe in the friend zone, but if you guys are going to try to keep yourselves there, just remember that this is because you lack boundaries, you lack self-respect, and you need to find it and get yourself out of these weird situations. Be intentional with your dating, be upfront about what you want, stop playing these games, because if you don't play the games, then you can't end up in the friend zone. Okay, bye.
All right. So as you guys saw, we're going to react to signs you're being friend zoned. Before we react to that video, we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, like the video, hit the notification button, be on top of what we're doing here. We're giving you some game and some sauce here on what to do and how to go about things with regards to dating, money, fitness, etc. But we're focused on the women dating, men and women dating. And what's your reaction to signs of getting friend zoned?
You know, I wanted to start it off with this. I think there's this kind of misconception that women put guys in the friend zone. But if you've ever experienced it before, if you look back at it, you'll realize that you put yourself in the friend zone. I think that guys put themselves in the friend zone. And, you know, we'll go through this list and kind of like touch on everything she said. But if you think about, you know, what is the friend zone? The friend zone is when you spend a lot of time trying to hook up with a girl that's not interested in you, and you're doing that willingly. You're the one spending time with her and texting her and writing back to her and giving her all that free attention with this hope that something's going to change, and you know it's not going to. So I wanted to start off with that because I think whenever this topic is brought up, it's always, oh, she put me in the friend zone, or women friend zone guys. She even said it in the video, but in reality, I think it's something that most of the time men do to themselves.
Well, yeah, definitely it is important to talk about what friend zoning is, because some people may not know. And it simply put is when she simply sees you as a friend and not as a romantic interest or romantic partner, potential relationship compatibility between each other in the future. So that's something that you can find yourself in very quickly. Now, the thing is that if you lead with women in a way of being their friend, then you're going to get put in the friend zone very, very quickly. But if you show your intentions up front, and as she mentioned in the video, there's no games, you're direct, you're confident, you're self-assured, then she'll know that, okay, this guy is looking for something more than just a friend. He's looking to have a relationship or date.
You're far better off making your intentions clear from square one, being rejected, knowing she's not interested or she doesn't see you that way, and moving on. But guys do the opposite sometimes. Is they'll kind of pretend like, oh, you know, maybe I have a chance. Maybe, you know, she just doesn't want to rush things, and you play this game. And like the woman said in the video, she's like, you end up playing these games with yourself, thinking that you're going to spend a lot of time with her, and eventually you'll get your chance. And the truth is, the longer you stay in the friend zone, the less of a chance you have of hooking up with her because she was already not attracted to you from the beginning. And then eventually what you're just going to do is build like a bunch of comfort with her to the point where she's going to just see you as one of her girls.
Big time. Big time. So let's get into some things that she said. I jotted some notes down prior when we watched it before. Women friend zone men they don't like. They friend zone men they are using. And they use these men for attention. Now, how do you know that you've been friend zoned? She mentioned being a pen pal. So being buddy with her. Being like one of her girlfriends. And if you have that marriage pact, right? Oh, I'm going to wait till I'm 40, and if I'm still single and you're still single, then we'll get married or some bullshit like that. I don't know why people even do that.
Yeah.
Another one is that she suggests you to date someone else. So she is hanging out with you. You, as a guy, may have intentions on dating her, having a relationship with her, taking it further and further, whatever the case is, maybe just hooking up, whatever it is. But she's suggesting, oh, here, date my friend. She made a name up. I think it was Patricia, or it could be anybody. Here's my friend. Here's my friend Kate. Here's my friend Alicia. Here's my friend Alexandra. So some random girl, here you go, but it's not that girl herself, the one that guy is interested in. And being possessive, where she's mad that you're dating someone else, but even if you were to break up with them to date her, she wouldn't want that. So those are some things she mentioned. What are the things you consider being friend zoned? What situation would a guy be friend zoned as well, along with these?
When a woman's not sexually interested in you, they won't directly tell you. So you have to just kind of be able to read it. How do you know you're in the friend zone? If you're spending time with a woman, okay, weeks, months, maybe even longer than that, and you're not hooking up, you're not sleeping with her, you have a friendly relationship, that's the friend zone. And it's not going away. You could stay there and pretend to yourself that something's going to change. It's not, and actually the longer you stay in the friend zone, the more awkward it is when you have to block her later, because what are you going to do? Just continue hanging out with her? It's like that's why I started the beginning of the video with that, is I think men do it to themselves because it's your choice to stay there. If you're not hooking up with her, I'm not saying you have to like disrespect her or say anything bad to her. Just kind of like cut the ties, just say, hey, look, this isn't what I was looking for, or don't even explain yourself. Just stop talking to her altogether.
Well, the thing is that if men have a continuity of a relationship that's a friendship type of relationship with that woman, and he doesn't get out of it, well, it's all on him. You have to get out of it at some point if you don't want to be in that friend zone part of the relationship with that girl. Get out of it, or you're wasting your time, wasting your energy, wasting your effort, and there's no hope.
In order to hook up with a girl, right, you have to have both. She has to be attracted to you, and you have to build comfort. Both elements have to be there. But the friend zone is when there is no attraction at all. It's just you that's attracted to her, but she feels zero attraction, and you kind of spend more and more time with her building that. You kind of invest that time, and that's another mistake that men make, is they have this false belief that by building more and more comfort, maybe she'll eventually become more comfortable around you and she'll see you in a different light, or maybe she'll eventually, something will click and she'll see you that way. No. And it's not a matter of like, oh, let me just wait my turn, or like, it doesn't work that way. Women know from square one if they're attracted to you or not. And you just have to be able to identify it and just tell yourself, like, do you really want to waste your time chasing after somebody that's, and plus you're going to look and feel stupid later. So
what are the types of guys that tend to be friend zoned?
She actually touched on a few points. Guys that have no self-respect for themselves, that are kind of like easygoing, the friendly guy types, the nice guy types. Look, you got to be straight up with these girls. You got to tell them what it is that you're looking for, convey interest from square one. And this is why you have to be comfortable with rejection, because And if you talk to any guy that's good with women, they'll all tell you the same thing, that they've all gotten rejected hundreds of times. It's just a part of the process. Rejection is good. It's like if you work in a business making cold calls. Some people are scared to make cold calls because they're so scared of rejection. But the people that are killing it in that business are the ones that know that they have to get like 100 no's before they get one yes. And it's the same thing with dating. Like you can't be scared to just like approach and give and show interest and get rejected. It's a part of it. You're better off talking to 100 girls over a course of time and sleeping with 5 of them than committing yourself to one girl and getting a friend zone. So it's stupid.
Well, I know a thing or two about sales, and let's say you make 100 calls. You were touching on calls there, and there's going to be 93 people that say no.
Correct.
There's going to be about 5 maybes, and there's going to be 2 that say yes.
It's really just like generating leads. It's really that you're applying the same concept. If you make a cold call in a business and the person tells you no, you don't take it personally. Just call the next person. You call the next person. Like you said, out of 100 calls, maybe you're going to get 3 or 4 yeses.
The thing is that you have to fail to succeed.
Yeah.
You cannot get that yes without getting the no. It's just the nature, the lay of the land, so to speak. If you don't try, you'll get an automatic no. You pretty much just put no on your door as you walk out of your bedroom every day to go out into the world if you don't try, because there's no way that a woman's going to come to you. You have to go after it.
And another way to look at this is, since we're talking about cold calls, we're the ones that are making the calls. The women are the ones that are receiving the calls. So they're the customer. They're the one that are receiving 100 calls a day, and they're saying no to everyone before they say yes to one. So you can look at it that way too,
Do women lead men on with intention of friend zoning them?
I think a lot of the times that is the case, because what's in it for them is free attention. She said it in the video. Women will intentionally use you in that way if you allow them to. If they know that they could count on you no matter what, they could just hit you up and you're going to be around, or they're going to be your pen pal, and they could just text you all their bullshit problems, and you're going to be there to listen to all of it and to answer to it and help them with their work or their current relationship or their ex, and you're always there for them. Of course they're going to use you for it.
It seems like guys don't realize it enough. They're going along, they're being strung along by these women, and they're trying to do all these things to win her over.
Doesn't work.
And it doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
So women will lead guys on, and they'll be there just to help out, maybe to give them some advice, maybe to give them a ride to work or to wherever they need to go, to call them just as a shoulder to cry on. And that's kind of, for a guy that's trying to date that specific woman right then and there, that's something that's embarrassing, unfortunately.
Women are, I think, far ahead of men in general when it comes to like understanding how this all works. So they are far better at manipulating and getting what they want out of guys, because they have way more experience. I mean, the amount of times they get hit on and approached and DM'd and texted, they've been doing this for years already. So I think for guys, it's kind of like a slower learning process before you kind of like snap out of it. That's why if you're like watching this and you're in your early 20s, it's important to understand this stuff now, because it's gonna save you a lot of headache and wasted time later.
So looking at that, let's head into another direction. How do men avoid the friend zone? How do they avoid that situation? What can they do and strike on head on to just clear out of the friend zone immediately?
I think it's important to approach dating in general with a basic strategy. You have to first ask yourself, what are you looking for? When you meet a woman online or you go on a date in person, you have to really, number one, vet the girl out, gauge her level of interest, gauge your level of interest, and don't allow yourself to just pay for dates and just like kind of like hang around these women like hoping something's going to happen. I think to avoid the friend zone, you have to really read her level of interest and keep that like sexual tension and take it from there. If you keep it friendly and you just keep, like she said, if you keep playing these games or you just spend a lot of time with them and like you're like the funny guy or like the nice guy, you're going to do it to yourself. So I think the first thing is you have to gauge her level of interest. You have to have a little bit of game too. If you're just a nice, friendly person, it's not going to get you very far.
So is it a nice guy versus bad boy situation where if you're the nice guy, you're going to tend to get friend zoned? If you're lucky, you may have a sexual evening, you may have a hookup or whatever, but most of the time, the majority of the time, like 99.9% of the time, you are friends with her if you're the nice guy.
Yep.
Versus the bad boy where there's a romantic interest mutually between both the man and the woman.
If you compare like the classic, nice guy and bad boy stereotypes, the bad boy's going to do what? He's going to sleep around with women. He's not going to take any of them seriously. He's going to be the one that's ignoring them, or like they had plans and he ended up going to see some other girl. Women are going to hate on us saying this. I know I can already see the comments, but let's be real.
Click the wrong one.
Who's going to have more success with women? That nice guy that's like shows up early to the date and waits there and, listens to all her bullshit, and then like she, pays for everything and she Ubers herself to another guy's house, or the guy that's like talking to 3-4 different girls at a time, So I know we're going to get hate for saying this, but we're looking at reality, what actually works.
Well, the proof is in the pudding. If a man is dating other women, women see that as an attraction because, well, if he can date them, then I should be a choice.
It's pre-selection
as well.
And you know what? Why else it's important? They can't see that you're weak. Once a woman sees that you're a weak guy, that you're like a pushover, it's over. It's game over.
Yeah. If a woman doesn't see that you're dating anyone, there's no social proof. What kind of guy does she have to work with? So she can test the waters, but she'll only go so far. And she may not go as far as having that romantic partnership.
It's funny we're talking about this right now. Earlier today, we watched a Fresh and Fit episode, and they had one of the OGs of pickup on the show, Mystery, Eric Von Markovic. He wrote the Mystery Method. This guy's one of the original starters, if you will, of pickup, along with Neil Strauss, who wrote The Game. It's a classic pickup book. And he said that pre-selection is 80% of it. If a woman thinks that you're pre-selected, and that could mean multiple things. That could mean you're already in a relationship. That could mean you're a guy that always has girls around him. If they see you're pre-selected and that other women want to be around you, that's already 80% of it. It's very powerful.
Yeah. And shout out to the guys at Fresh and Fit for bringing him on. They, they always do good things out there for men and women as well. To get back at it, the differences between the nice guy and the bad boy. So you can say that the nice guy is going to lead with trying to be friends with her.
Yes.
And then it'll go nowhere because she's going to see it as a friendship.
Correct. And what you said there, I want to stop there for a second. That's why I said guys do it to themselves, because it's a game we play. As a man, you think you're going to be slick by playing the friend role and then eventually sleep with her. And what ends up happening, she's going to play you. You're going to end up staying in the friend zone.
Big time. Especially if you bring her flowers and chocolates too. You try to kind of be friends, and then you try to switch it around where you try to say, hey, well, I kind of like you. Here's some flowers, here's a chocolate. You try to buy her gifts and things like that. It doesn't work.
You will never get a female's level of interest to increase by buying her shit. I promise you, you could buy her all you want. You could send her money. It's never going to make her more interested in you.
Now, the bad boy.
He'll do the opposite. She'll probably spend money on him. She'll be the one that's buying him an Xbox, or, I know women personally that have done stuff like that too. And it's funny how that works, right?
Well, while the nice guy also, because we want to look at the qualities of each particular guy. While the nice guy is weak, not much social proof or social status, not much up there financially, nothing really going for himself.
The nice guy is going to be friendly, kind of predictable. He's going to be more submissive. The bad boy is going to be the opposite. He's going to be a little bit kind of an arrogant prick, unreliable, maybe has a little bit of an attitude problem, doesn't hold his word all the time. You find, she might find out that he's talking to another girl. And it's funny because I know people are going to watch this and say like, oh, these are just immature, corny games that kids play. No, this is the reality of how it is. And if you don't believe me, then be my guest. Go be the nice guy. You let us know how that works out for you.
Exactly. Along with that, the bad boy has some qualities for himself. I mean, strong, possibly athletic, leadership, assertive, dominant, confident. I mean, you have all these things. Probably some social status. I don't know if I said that already, but if I didn't, social status. And money as well. 6 foot tall or higher, so has all those things that's attractive to women, and they like that. But at the same time, he's kind of douchey.
The bad boy stereotype would never allow any of this to happen. No chance.
Yeah.
Pen pal, the girl telling you that maybe will you get married in the future. What was the other one? Suggest for you to sleep with one of her friends or hook up with one of her friends. Although I will say, out of the things she listed here, the only one that can work out in your favor, and I've had this happen, where I started talking to one girl and she didn't like me, but I ended up hooking up with one of her friends. That's the only one out of all these that can work out in your advantage. If she's pushing you off to one of her friends and she's decent looking or you find her attractive, double down and hook up with her instead. But the rest of these are like, you just got to avoid this like the plague.
It sometimes works out that way where there's a guy that's interested in a girl, but she ends up not liking him, and then the guy ends up hooking up with one of her friends, and then she may react to it, she may not, but sometimes she could go and hook up with him now because he hooked up with one of her friends.
As long as she's not pushing you off up onto some monster, some behemoth, it could work out in your favor, I don't take it personally. If I'm talking to a girl and she doesn't like me and she says, hey, Becky's interested, or Linda, as long as she looks good and I find her attractive, I'm with it,
Now, a guy is friend zoned. Can he escape the friend zone and go back into being a romantic interest? Is it possible?
It's very unlikely. And actually, it's good you brought it up because I know a very common question that guys ask is, how do I get out of the friend zone? You don't, because the only reason you got into the friend zone is because she didn't find you attractive to begin with. Guys think that this is like a game they could kind of replay, take a few steps back, and get out of it. No, she unless something about you drastically changed, all of a sudden you're so much more good looking, or you make so much more money, or you're such a more interesting person that maybe her opinion of you will change, but it's highly unlikely. I would say the best way, if there is a way to get out of the friend zone, it's to stop talking to her for like a year, 2, 3, and then she has to like run into you or find you on social media later and see that you're a completely different person. That's the only chance. And why would you even bother with that?
Yeah, you have to disappear. If you still have interest in that girl from years ago or a year ago, 2 years ago, 6 months ago, whatever, and you have hopes for that rekindling to happen, then you have to go and just work on yourself, as we've talked about before. Maybe you won't be high value, but you can at least attempt to be high value. Work on your money, social status, your fitness, nutrition, taking care of yourself, your hair, your body odor, your teeth, your leadership, being kind, all these things that women look up to. If you're that and more versus what you were, then she could probably, it'll take a miracle, but she could probably turn around and say, hey, maybe this guy, I knew him 5 years ago. I knew him 2 years ago. Maybe this guy is something to look forward to. Maybe, she was in a previous relationship. They broke up and now she's single. Maybe she's out there kind of looking and she runs into this guy again that she knew from years ago and wants to maybe start something up where she was friends with him in the past and now she sees a romantic potential there.
That's the only way. It has to be a drastic change. She has to see, like, I'm not talking about you used to make $15 an hour and now you make $17. It has to be a drastic change. So, I would completely forget about her if that's what you're looking to do. Get out of the friend zone. Get into shape, make more money. Down the line, if you run into her and something happens, great. But I don't even like this whole that whole scenario because you shouldn't be worried about that broad to begin with.
Yeah, exactly. If you're that guy that moved on, that you were dealing with her, you moved on to move on and get someone better. So you're forgetting about all those women in the past. And if they come back in the picture, you shut the door in their face.
And you know what's funny? Women will do that. It's crazy. Like, I know women personally that I haven't spoken to in a few years, and I never deleted them off social media because I really don't block people unless they do something to like really get on my nerves. And they started DMing me now, and I haven't spoken to them in years. The women will do that. Women will sometimes step, it's just a game they play. Sometimes they're going to step out of your life, and then they'll step back in a few years later. They'll try to weasel their way in because they thought they're going to do what happens. Women sometimes think they're going to get better, and, they know their worth. They're queens, and they get ran through too. Women get ran through too, just like guys get friend zoned. A term that I just learned the other day is women get bed zoned. We get friend zoned, women get bed zoned, and that means that guys just sleep with them and they have no interest in getting in a relationship. So they kind of have women have the opposite problem of what men have. We get stuck as friends, and they get stuck as buddies.
I could see that. It's not surprising. I mean, why would you want to go back to something that, at that time, she had the chance. Now, you're someone else. She lost you. If you're a guy that you knew some girl back in the day, could have been 2015 or it could have been at the end of last year, and you changed for the better, you're not going back to that girl. You're moving on, and you're going forward with other opportunities that appreciate you from the get-go. That's the most important thing. And this is you. Maybe you were the nice guy, and now you've converted yourself into the bad boy. The bad boy always has the advantage. So always keep that in mind, that you never want to look backwards. You always want to look forwards.
Yeah.
We all have ladies that we had in our lives. They pop up here and there once in a while when they see that things are going better for you. I see it happening for me as well. I see it happening for many guys. Guys are improving and focusing on all the things that we talked about in working towards becoming a high-value man. And women see that, and they try to come back, and it's like, no, it's over and done with. You had your chance. Now it's time for the men to say that, hey, they had their chance. It's over. I'm looking into a positive direction and looking at other women, better women.
Everything we went over today, I think all of this is a part of the game. All of it. Everything we covered, the stuff that women, the games that women play, the games, unfortunately, we have to play back to avoid getting friend zoned. It's all part of the game, so don't take anything personally.
Last thing.
Go ahead.
Men get friend zoned, and they're friend zoned for a bit. Do they keep trying or accept rejection and move on?
Accept rejection and move on. And one last one before we end. Don't try to go after girls that are out of your league. If you're a 4, don't run after the 9s. We're almost out of time. Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you on the next video.
Road to 1,000. Subscribe to the channel. See you next time.